Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is the first time I've ever gone live. Technically, the second time because I just tried to go live a half hour ago and gave a brilliant presentation, if I do say so myself, which was recorded as a test broadcast, and so nobody saw it. So here we are again, second time's the charm. Anyways, thank you so much for being here, and sorry to anyone who was here half an hour ago trying to find the broadcast. Sorry. Anyways, who am I? My name is Julie Saad, and I am a holistic wellness coach for women with ADHD, and I am also a functional therapeutic diets specialist, which means basically I help women overcome ADHD through the use of dietary therapy and mindset coaching. I'm happy to have you guys here. So, today's topic is procrastination. Procrastination was and will always be the thing that I struggled with the most with ADHD. It was the thing that affected my self-esteem the most. And when I began to, I don't want to say cure, but greatly alleviate my ADHD, it was the thing that went away first. And that's how I knew that I was onto something, because suddenly I wasn't procrastinating like I used to. So now I can, for the most part, just sit down and do something. But, we all have our bad days. So here's a little trick that I use when I'm having trouble just sitting down and doing the thing. You can use this trick too. I call it the embryo step. What? Yeah, it's called the embryo step. And so this is for anybody who occasionally struggles with procrastination, or those of you who have a PhD in procrastination. So it's a little tool you can put in your toolkit to help you when you just don't want to do the thing, or you want to do the thing, but you just can't do the thing. So the embryo step, what on earth is that? Well, you've heard of baby steps. So this is even smaller. It's not even a fetus step. It's an embryo step. What on earth is this lady talking about? Let me explain. Now, there are many reasons we procrastinate, and I'm not going to talk about all of them today. But one of the reasons is that we may very simply have a problem with what's called task initiation, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's having trouble starting something. So that might sound like a little bit of an oversimplification. We have trouble starting something because we have trouble starting something. Yeah, basically that's what's going on. Task initiation is one of our executive functions, and executive functions are these kind of higher level processes in the brain. So one of them is task initiation. So if you've ever had one of those days where you just couldn't get started on something, no matter what, and then when you finally got started on it, you thought, well, that wasn't even that hard. Why did I take so long to get going on this thing? Well, then in that case, you may have had an issue in that moment with task initiation. So this issue with task initiation can be exacerbated depending on what's going on with you that day. By that I mean, if you are stressed, if you are tired, if you haven't nourished yourself well, if you're thirsty and you forgot to drink water, all of these things, if you're feeling lonely even, these can make it harder for you to initiate a task. So there's a little hack that might work. Put this hack in your toolkit so it's available to you. We're gonna find the first absolutely tiniest step possible that's needed to start the project. Let me give you an example. Let's say I need to create a presentation for a conference where I'll be speaking. What would the first step be? What do you think? If you said something like make an outline or brainstorm, well, those are good ideas, but they're not embryo steps. They're not even baby steps. They're like child steps. So we want to break it down even more. So I would say something like embryo step number 1 is opening a blank document. If that doesn't work, go even smaller. Embryo step number 1 is sitting at my desk or turning on my computer. In a perfect world, we would be able to tell ourselves, hey, I'm going to write a presentation. And our brains would just kind of magically sort it all out for us, prioritize it, create a formula, and get us going. But sometimes it just doesn't work like that. So we need this technique of these teeny tiny micro steps or embryo steps. Because if we can get that first thing going, sometimes you'll find that that's all you needed was just to say, what is the first step? It is just to open this document. Okay. What is the second step? And it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Just going through these tiny, tiny steps. So I have found that this technique really helps me on those days that I'm just kind of having trouble getting going, or, where I find myself going off and doing something else. If you've ever noticed that you're trying to do something relatively complex, but you keep going and checking your email, or you go and check social media, or you go and get another cup of coffee that you might not need, guilty as charged, and you keep doing these like easy things, right? It's probably because you're trying to avoid this complex thing. So take the complex thing and make it so easy by making it baby embryo steps. Open the document, write the title. That's the smallest step, and do one step at a time. That advice we hear of break it down into steps is bad. Break it down into one step, and then the next step, and then the next step. All right, so this helps me a lot, just really get into the zone, and this has helped my clients a lot too, just kind of, snap into that zone. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible for ourselves to get going. So if there's something you're putting off doing, I would invite you to take a second to think of what the very first embryo step or micro step, if you don't like the word embryo because it's kind of weird, what would the very first micro step be? Give it a shot, and then let me know what happens. Leave a comment, send me a message. I would absolutely love to hear from you, and let me know if it helped. All right, I did it. My second time doing a live, but my first real live. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a happy and healthy day. Ciao.